young detectives! Welcome back to Whispering Woods. Detective Hoot is ready for another exciting mystery. Today, something strange is happening to all the beautiful flowers in the forest. Are you ready to help Detective Hoot solve the case of the wilting flowers? Detective Hoot woke up to find something very wrong in Whispering Woods. All around the forest, the beautiful flowers were turning brown and dying. The roses, daisies, and sunflowers that made the forest so colorful were wilting away. The forest animals were very worried because without healthy flowers, the bees couldn't make honey, and the whole forest would lose its magical beauty. Detective Hoot's first stop was Rosie's flower shop, where the rabbit always had the most beautiful flowers in the forest. But today, Rosie was crying next to her flower beds. "Oh, Detective Hoot," she said sadly. "Yesterday my flowers were perfect and colorful, but this morning I woke up and they were all brown and dying. It happened so fast and I don't understand why. All my customers are so upset and I don't know how to help them." Buzzy the bee buzzed over to Detective Hoot, looking very worried. "Detective Hoot, this is a big emergency," Buzzy said. "We bees need healthy flowers to make honey for the whole forest, but all the flowers are dying, so we can't collect the sweet nectar we need. If this continues, there won't be any honey for winter, and many forest animals will go hungry. Please help us figure out what's making all the flowers sick." Detective Hoot began looking for clues around the dying flowers. He used his magnifying glass to study the wilted plants very carefully. "This is strange," he told Deputy Pip. "Look at how these flowers died. They all have the exact same pattern, brown from the bottom up, and the leaves curled in exactly the same way. When flowers get sick naturally, they die in different ways, but these all look exactly the same, like something very specific happened to them all at once." Just then, a friendly fox in a green coat walked up to them. "Hello there," he said with a big smile. "I'm Professor Thornwick, a plant expert. I heard about your flower problem, and I'm here to help. I've been studying sick plants for many years, and I think I know exactly what's wrong. It looks like a terrible plant disease is spreading through your forest. But don't worry. I have a special miracle fertilizer that can save all your flowers." Professor Thornwick showed them bottles of sparkling liquid from his green bag. "This is my special miracle plant fertilizer," he announced proudly. "I've used it to save flowers in many other forests. For just a small payment, I can treat all your dying plants and make them healthy again. In fact, I've already started helping some areas. Let me show you." Detective Hoot thought this seemed almost too good to be true, but he decided to see what the professor could do. Professor Thornwick led them to a small garden area where the flowers were absolutely beautiful and healthy. Bright red roses, yellow daisies, and purple violets bloomed perfectly, while all around them, other flowers were dying. "You see?" said the professor proudly. I treated this area with my special fertilizer yesterday, and look how wonderful the flowers are. I can do the same for your entire forest. But Detective Hoot noticed something odd. This perfect garden seemed almost too perfect, like it had never been sick at all. That evening, Detective Hoot decided to patrol the forest to look for more clues. As he flew quietly through the moonlit woods, he heard strange sounds coming from underground. Thump, thump, whir, thump. It sounded like some kind of machine working deep beneath the earth. The sounds seemed to be coming from right under the areas where the flowers were dying the most. Detective Hoot landed softly and pressed his ear to the ground to listen more carefully. The next night, Detective Hoot decided to secretly follow Professor Thornwick to see what he was doing after dark. The fox crept quietly through the shadows, carrying his green bag and some strange metal tools. He stopped at several spots where the flowers had died and seemed to be checking on something underground. Then he disappeared behind a large boulder near the old oak grove. Detective Hoot flew silently overhead and watched as the professor opened a hidden entrance in the ground and climbed down into a secret underground space. Detective Hoot quietly flew down and peered into the secret underground space. He couldn't believe what he saw. Professor Thornwick had built a huge machine with pipes and tubes going in all directions under the forest floor. The machine was sucking all the nutrients and minerals out of the soil. That's what was killing the flowers. Giant containers were filled with the stolen plant food, and the professor was packaging it into bottles labeled Miracle Fertilizer. He had been stealing the flowers' food and then selling it back to the forest animals. "I can't believe it," whispered Deputy Pip. "He's been causing the problem just so he could sell the solution." Detective Hoot flew up and called loudly, "Stop right there, Professor Thornwick!" All the forest animals came running when they heard the noise. Professor Thornwick tried to deny everything, but Detective Hoot showed everyone the underground machine and the stolen nutrients. "Professor Thornwick has been stealing the food that flowers need to grow healthy," announced Detective Hoot. "He made everyone think there was a plant disease, but really, he was taking away what the plants needed to live, then selling it back to us as expensive medicine." The forest animals were very upset, but they were proud of Detective Hoot for discovering the truth. The forest animals worked together to put all the stolen nutrients back into the soil where they belonged. They carefully poured the plant food back into the ground around each dying flower. Within just a few hours, something magical began to happen. The brown, wilted flowers started turning green again. Their petals opened up in beautiful reds, yellows, and purples. The bees buzzed happily as they returned to collect nectar from the healthy flowers. Professor Thornwick had to leave the forest and promise never to hurt plants again. Detective Hoot smiled as he watched all the forest families celebrating together in their beautiful, colorful garden home once more. And so, the flowers of Whispering Woods bloom beautifully once again. Great detective work, everyone. Remember, when something seems too good to be true, it usually is. Always ask questions, look for clues, and help your friends. Detective Hoot has solved another mystery, but more adventures await. Will you join us next time?